How's it going? Welcome to my video. So this video is on an issue that I've been having with my car for, I'd say, quite a while now. It's sporadic, but this afternoon it kind of conked, it kind of went out on me, went out on me. So I was driving the car fine, no problem. I started up this morning, no issues whatsoever. Took it, about 10-15 miles, from one place to the next, and went shopping a little bit, parked at the parking lot, came back out, tried to start the car, and nothing happens. So it's daylight out, and I'm like, what's the issue? Because it was driving fine, to start up fine. So let me give you guys a backstory on this. I have had starting problems, and these are sporadic starting problems from way back. I'm talking about like nine months. All right, like once a month, once every 2 months. What would happen is, I would park my car and try to start it, and the car won't start. So for most of the time, I'll get out, check a couple of things, see if the terminal wires are loose, and if sometimes they're loose, sometimes they're not loose, and sometimes I'll just turn it a little bit just to see if it made a difference. And then I'll start a couple of times, and for the most part, it would always start. But today, nothing. I tried doing the same thing. I got out, see if I could do the same thing that I did before by turning the terminal, the battery terminals. Hoping that I would get the same result, but nothing happened. So my other thought was, maybe I had a dead battery for whatever reason. Maybe the battery, was no good. But strange thing is, all the, the battery works. I checked the lights were strong, the headlights were strong. Checked the fan, blower motor works. Everything worked. So I was, trying to figure out what the problem is. I had somebody, I asked somebody in the parking lot to help me jump the car. And when they put cables to it, nothing, just one click. It was just one single click, and nothing else. All the lights on the dash work. There was no issues. There was no issues with anything else except for the fact that the car won't start. So, at that point, I was thinking, it could be a fuse, it could be a relay, it could be the brake switch, any one of those things. But I did go and try to try to play with the brake switch a little, see if that worked. It didn't work. I'm pretty sure that wasn't a problem. Most of the time, that's not the problem, and that has never been the problem. It's not the problem. So I was thinking maybe it could be a relay or a fuse. A lot of times when I had issues with fuse, what would happen was the car would either crank, have everything else working, it will crank, but it won't start, or there's it's just no power whatsoever, which is like the main fuse that's dead. I did check the fuses. I did have a fuse tester on me, and I did test out all the fuses. All the fuses were good, so that wasn't the issue. All right. The other thing that came to mind was maybe it was, I kind of knew it was a starter. I replaced the starter a year ago. It's a refurbished starter. Unfortunately, you guys know anything about refurbished starters, you guys know that they go out on you quite a bit. Well, or go out on you. There's always a chance that they go out on you, considering that a lot of these, when they fix these starters, they only fix a single part of it. They don't fix all the parts of it. All right. So, you know, there's a high percentage of starters just, you know, not working, since they only change one single part of it, unfortunately. So, you know, that was the thing that I had, that, you know, I thought could have caused the issue. But I was looking at the fuse, seeing maybe the fuse would have, you know, caused my car not to start. I didn't think it was the fuse, considering there was a click. I was hearing clicks. And the fact that I'm hearing clicks means that the solenoid is firing off at least once. And if it's firing off at least once, it means that the fuse is delivering power. I mean, the connection is good, that the fuse is not broken. It's delivering power to the starter itself. So at that point, it was a pretty high percentage that it was the starter that was the problem. So this is what I did. I took as a last resort, I actually took a long crowbar that I had, try to knock the starter a little bit, see if it changes anything, and then try to start the car. Unfortunately, it did the same thing. I mean, sometimes that works. If you guys know anything about, a little bit about cars, as far as, issues, starting issues and stuff like that, you guys know that is one of the, strangely enough, that's one of the things that you could do to try to get it started, if the starter was, if the starter had one more start left in him. But funny thing is, I've had situations where I've done that multiple times on the starter, and that had issues, and it would always start up. But at this point, that's not the case, because my car, I did it a couple of times. Normally, when you try and bump the starter, it's better if you have somebody else try to start the car while you bump the starter. I bumped it a couple of times. I bumped the starter itself, the main unit, the motor. I bumped the solenoid. I bumped both those things, and it didn't do anything. All right, but I did go one step further. I had some wires. I had some wires on me. So what I did was I tried hooking up, the positive. If you guys don't know how to do this, don't do this. I tried hooking up the positive, hooked up the wire to the positive terminal of the battery, and I actually tried to, start it, bypassing the relay and all that stuff, just to see if it did work. What you do is you touch the, I believe you touch the positive and the, there's 3 terminals on there. There's a positive, there's there's one that goes to the solenoid, and then there's another one. I touched those 2 terminals, and unfortunately nothing worked. It didn't work. So that's my situation as far as the car is concerned. And you guys are still with me. Just let you guys know what the issue was. The starter actually died on me, and I had the starter swapped out, and the car started without problem. I didn't even mention the alternator being like one of the things on my list that I'd have to cross out. Reason being is that the alternator, here's the thing with the alternator, that alternator only dies on you if the car is on. If the motor is on and the alternator dies on you, and the car won't start after that. You know that the alternator was the issue, and it won't start because the battery's drained, because the alternator is not charging up the battery. So I mean, that's the difference between the car not starting, no start as far as that's concerned. And if it's a dead alternator, you can actually put cables on it, on the battery, and it'll start up. And once you take the cables off, it'll probably die out. It might die out. It might die out slowly, but it'll die out. So that's the difference.